First rep was better than both reps yesterday. One more time. Here we go.
Josiah Cooperwood is a senior at the University of Alabama, a biology major with plans to attend medical school. His talent also landed him a spot conducting the university's so-called $1 million band.
I just never would have dreamed of being in a place like this, with a band like this, in a position like this.
Our band. Watch Josiah right with him with the horn swing.
Because Josiah is from Texas, Alabama's out-of-state cost of nearly $50,000 a year would have been out of range.
So you were valedictorian of your class?
Yes, ma'am, that is correct.
Josiah is one of tens of thousands of students of color around the country who will graduate debt-free after being named a National Recognition Scholar. It identifies students from underrepresented groups who are top test takers and meet certain grade point averages.
And then that, I'm sure, came with a number of scholarships that you were able to get when you were heading off to college.
The University of Alabama just offered an offer I couldn't refuse, frankly. It was tuition for all 4 years, residence for my first year at the dorms, and even an additional stipend that was able to help my family out beyond what any of the Texas schools were able to offer me.
This year, the University of Alabama stopped awarding that scholarship. This comes after the Supreme Court's 2023 affirmative action decision. Although that ruling aimed to end race considerations specifically in college admissions, it appears to be just the beginning of efforts to end any consideration of race on college campuses.
The National Recognition Scholarship will no longer be valid here at the University of Alabama.
That is correct, ma'am. As of, I believe, October 19th, 2023, they have changed the scholarship.
The Hechinger Report, which covers education nationally and is our producing partner, surveyed the country's 50 flagship public universities about whether they'll continue to offer scholarships designated for students of color. What are you finding when you tried to see if a scholarship actually had been impacted by the end of affirmative action?
So about 15 got rid of them, 22 had kept them.
How much money are we talking about with those 15 universities that have ended the program for incoming students?
Yeah, it's over $60 million, at least. Probably much, much more than that, because not everyone would say how much they were spending on the scholarships. They did finally admit that they changed it, that they got rid of it.
Kolodner found that at schools nationwide, these scholarships played a big role. 3/4 of college students in the U.S. attend public universities.
At the University of Alabama, in their publications that they send out to everyone, they were touting the scholarship as being very effective, both in terms of attracting very qualified students, but also in terms of increasing diversity at the university. The University of New Mexico also has one, and they told me that at their university, just about 52% of students graduate within 6 years, but for these students, it's over 80%. So it's been effective in terms of increasing graduation rates as well.
In addition to scholarships going away, universities in at least 32 states have rolled back efforts promoting diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI. The Attorneys General of Missouri and Ohio are urging their institutions to immediately cease the practice of using race-based standards. Some states, like Alabama, have passed laws prohibiting DEI programs on campus.
What happened to the Black Student Union on campus?
Yeah, the Black Student Union, they had a space in the Student Center in the downstairs, and that was a place where many students would go and, have community. They would have a physical space, and that's one thing, is like space on campus and having something physical, tangible is so important. And this summer, they closed it in compliance with the law.
The University of Alabama is home to 8 of the so-called Divine Nine, Black fraternities and sororities.
I think what we need is transparency from the university and tell us what we can and cannot do, and make sure that we do not feel afraid to talk about being Black or brown on this campus or any of the other campuses that are affected by the ban on DEI.
Black undergraduate enrollment at the University of Alabama is around 11%. Some students, like Naveed Sadiq, who belongs to the College Republicans of Alabama, say ending DEI programs is the right move.
Having everyone on an equal footing allows us to take merit into consideration instead of boosting people based on conditions they can't control.
You cannot cure racial discrimination that occurred in the past with new discrimination today. Race and ethnicity have no place in American life and law.
Conservative activist Edward Bloom and his allies are now following up on his original affirmative action lawsuit by working to stop DEI efforts and race-based scholarships and internships. It's a sharp turn of events at places like the University of Alabama, which made the history books in 1963 when the National Guard had to escort Black students onto campus to keep them safe.
The governor is adamant. He made a campaign promise to stand in the doorway himself to prevent the integration of the last all-white state university. After the federal officers leave...
Going forward, President Trump has also said he will aggressively go after DEI efforts on campus.
Removing all Marxist diversity, equity, and inclusion bureaucrats.
We are not going to give up.
An erosion of diversity initiatives isn't just affecting public universities. Private ones are seeing an impact as well.
The whole thing. That's a great picture. Oh, you've got one pose, huh?
I did in college, yeah.
That's beautiful. It really shows off how beautiful the
Amherst campus is absolutely gorgeous. There's a specific spot on campus that when I was
Boston University professor Anthony Jack wrote, "Class dismissed when colleges ignore inequality and students pay the price." His alma mater, Amherst College, saw admissions of Black students drop 8% after the Supreme Court decision.
First-time graduate student at FU Wheelock, and we admire your work.
Cool beans.
Thank
Yeah,
you
you
so
should
much.
stop in my office sometime.
I will.
I want to know what tools are we using to evaluate students, and more importantly, to evaluate the impact on inequality in America.
What do you think is or is going to be the impact of all of these anti-DEI measures?
I see DEI not just as diversity equity initiatives, right? I see them as retention offices. The more connected a student feels to the school and to the people there, the greater their performance, the greater their mental health, the greater their access to those university resources.
Y'all think about how Missions offers this pitch, all right? What's the most important story you can tell? You have 650 words, and you're trying to you guys are saying that you want to stand out, right?
Aten Ray Aline's nonprofit, Teen Sharp, helps high-achieving students from disadvantaged minority groups get into selective colleges.
I recall last year we were working with one student on the list of colleges, and we said, okay, go to this particular college because we know they have a scholarship for African Americans. And then we go to that page and it's gone, right? And that was really the first time we started noticing that ripple effect from the decision that some of them are gone.
Which means that the things that transformed life for students like Josiah might not be around for the next student that fits the profile, even if they gain admission.
You've scooched in under, you're grandfathered in because of course you're graduating. So you're fine, but the next version of you is not.
And that's a little disheartening is a little bit of an understatement, because in my head, there's going to be another Josiah Cooper Wood out there, valedictorian of his class, same stats, same interests, same desire to maybe become a doctor, maybe wants to join the band, maybe wants to be a part of this Alabama culture, that maybe won't have that same opportunity. He won't have that same access that I had to this scholarship.